Hi, I'm Wally, aka Machine Schooling from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and I want to tell you about my Unplayables cube. You might have seen some other cubes play some of the worst cards ever printed in Magic, and those cubes don't work so well. The cards don't do anything, they don't really work together, they're just not that fun. But the Unplayables cube isn't a gimmick cube. It's not just taking the worst cards ever printed, it's taking really, really bad cards, but cards that do something together. Every card in this cube is for an archetype, and the archetypes are kind of weird. And when I say weird, I mean some of the most flexible and powerful cards in the entire cube are Haunted Cloak, Ooze Garden, and Sundial of the Infinite. Haunted Cloak, an equipment that doesn't add power, toughness, and barely helps in combat. Ooze Garden, a card that basically turns your creatures into vanilla creatures. And Sundial of the Infinite, a card that just stops your turn? How does this work? Well, there's a whole archetype called Vanillify that's about taking creatures with huge downsides and huge stats and turning them into vanilla creatures so that they're actually pretty good. There's an archetype that takes creatures that don't untap normally and then untaps them. You'll maybe notice the theme of taking creatures that are pretty big and have huge downsides and then trying to get rid of the downsides. There's a ramp deck that utilizes ramp spells that have a harsh restriction around how you can use their mana and funnels them into huge activated abilities. Lantern Control is an archetype. Lantern Control always used some wonky cards, but without the support of Ensnaring Bridge, you're gonna have to figure out a different way to survive while you mill your opponent's good cards away. There's also a coin flip archetype that takes a bunch of high variance cards and then tries to lower the variance a little bit. There are also some more common archetypes, but using different cards. Things like Graveyard, Affinity, Equipment. They're just not using the cards you'd expect. Because the archetypes in this cube are pretty unusual, there's a detailed explanation of how they work on the Cube Cobra overview page. I'd recommend checking that out. Hopefully I've illustrated that although the cards in this cube are very, very weak, they fit together in different and unusual ways. They make for some powerful and fun archetypes.